Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Boujraii here, and today we have a story time. I did want to say thank you to all of my returning subscribers, and if you are a new viewer, go ahead and click that subscribe button. Join the family. You're gonna love it over here. I want you guys to go ahead and give this video a thumbs up if you like it. Leave me any comments down below. Today we're gonna do a story for Halloween, so that's why I have the TV on. I need the background noise. I am home alone, so I need the background noise. So yeah, it is nighttime. It's like 2 in the morning over here, so let's just jump straight into this. So the story I'm going to be telling, I wanted to go ahead and give you guys some insight into my life. Let's get a little more personal, right? So I am very spiritual. Some of my friends and family would say that I am sensitive to the spiritual world. I grew up a Christian, and from there, you know, I always believed in Christianity. I believe in God and things like of that nature. So the stories I'm going to tell you today, they have to do with spirituality. You may or may not believe in it. That is totally your preference, but I definitely do, especially after the things that have happened to me. So let's go into it. When I was little, I used to get sleep paralysis quite a lot. If you guys don't know what sleep paralysis is, it's basically when you wake up and you're awake mentally, but you're kind of paralyzed physically. So you can't speak, you can't move, you can't talk. Growing up, my grandmother called it the witch riding your back, the hag riding your back. I heard somebody say that recently. But I'm pretty sure witch and hag mean the same thing. Or like a demon riding your back, things like that is what they used to call it growing up. I'm sorry if I keep looking the other way as well. I'm like keeping myself in tune. But to give y'all this video, I'm gonna have to be comfortable today, okay? So growing up, this thing that used to happen scared me. Hold on, let me put something else on TV. It used to scare me like a lot. Like it would happen, and so it would happen. And when I say this started when I was like, if I could remember back, I was probably like 10 or 11 maybe. So yeah, this started way back then, and all types of things happen. I even like used to have dreams when I was younger than that, but they weren't really sleep paralysis. And you guys comment below, okay? Comment below, comment a falling emoji. Wait, I don't think there is a falling emoji. Hold on. You've had this dream before? Comment below. I want you to comment a balloon emoji. Only because balloons float. And I grew up with my grandparents half my life. Probably like 75% of my life. But I had dreams where I was going down the steps, and I would just be floating over the steps going down. And I would wake up, and the dream would bother me so much. And even now, like, I'm getting chills. And I don't know. And I seen myself doing it, or I realized I was doing it. Like, I don't remember if I used to watch myself doing it, or if I could just like be in the moment and see myself doing it. But even now, I'm envisioning these dreams as I'm saying it to y'all. And in these dreams, it would be like black. I had a nightgown on. I always had like this glowy orange nightgown on. It was like a pale orange, but it kind of glowed. And is glue a word? It kind of glowed. Yeah, it was like luminescent in the dark, and it would be dark, and I would just be floating down my grandparents' steps. And that happened a lot. So let's say that started it. My grandparents were both very spiritual. My grandfather and my grandmother, rest her soul. My Nana took us to church. We went to church every Sunday. We were highly in the church. And the house we lived in had been in the family for years. Like my grandfather grew up there. My dad grew up there. The house had been there for years. So I would like to say that's when like some of the dreaming things happen. And now that I'm older, I've realized that when I sleep, when I dream, I'm definitely connected to another side, because I have had many dreams that were foreshadowing what was to happen in the future. I'm going to tell you guys just a few stories. They're short stories, so we'll just condense them. And the times that really stick in my mind, I was in high school. And like I said, when it would happen, I would be like, it would bother me. I had been maybe in the 11th grade. I was like in the 11th grade. And I was upstairs and I'm asleep. And I wake up and I'm in my bed. And my bed was not onto a wall. So you know how some people push their beds up against the wall? My bed was directly in the middle of my floor. So I was just in the middle of the floor. So I'm in the bed and I'm waking up and I'm looking. So we lived in an older house in Pittsburgh. And my room actually had a shelf built into the wall. So if I could find a picture, I'll insert it because it's kind of be hard to explain. But older houses tend to sometimes have like built-in storage into the wall. And I was facing that. I remember I used to keep like my pictures on it. I used to keep like a bunch of stuff on it. So I was facing that. And I woke up and I was trying to like talk and move and I couldn't move. And I remember like panicking in my head because I'm like, I can't move, I can't talk, I can't say anything. And I remember seeing like my siblings walking past my door because it was like the morning time. So they were probably going downstairs to get breakfast, whatever may have you. And my door was like cracked. And I remember trying to like say their names and I couldn't. So in my head, I told you guys I grew up a Christian. So my family, my grandparents that raised me heavy on the church. So I'm like reciting Psalms 23, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want, right? I go into that prayer and then immediately like I go to sleep, I wake up and everything's okay. So I tell my grandparents about it because they're the more like churchy ones. So I go to them about it and I'm explaining to them. They're like, you know, just stay prayed up, stay prayed up, stay prayed up. So that's one of the times I can remember. And I think it scared me so much because it was like the middle of the day and it was for a long time. I remember that. Like I remember laying there for a very extended amount of time. Like it was not a short amount of time. Sis is getting the chills. Okay, y'all. I don't know why I waited till 2 a.m. when I'm home alone. So, okay, let's go into the second time. So I think I have 3 that I'm going to tell, or 4. So the second time happened in college. The next 2 are going to be in college. So this time happened when I was dating JC. He was in one of my previous story times. I think the first time going to the strip club, he was a part of that story. I was dating JC at the time. Let me give you guys some backstory on where the house was, what it was like, and go from there. So at this time, I was dating JC, and we lived in a quad house. So it was an apartment with 4 rooms, 2 bathrooms, 1 kitchen, 1 living room. The rooms were on each side of the house. So on one side of the house was 2 rooms. On the other side was another 2 rooms. Me and JC took up one whole side. Because we were dating, when we moved in, I moved in with all boys. So I lived with JC, and I lived with 2 other guys that lived on the other side of the room. This particular day, we had, I'm guessing we both had slept in my room. And then when he used to go to work early in the morning. So let's say 8 to 3 or 8 to 12, something like that. He would get up and go to work. And I would stay home. He had to work early in the morning. I remember that. And I was not. Let me stress this to you guys. Ray was not a morning person in college. So I'm laying in the bed and I'm knocked out, dead knocked out. Now, there was a plug behind my headboard. I remember waking up and not being able to move. So I remember waking up and I'm facing the wall. So I can't see anybody at the door. I can't see like anybody else. And I couldn't move. And something sat, or someone sat on the side of the bed with me. I'm getting chills again, y'all. So someone sat on the side of the bed. I felt like, you know how you feel the bed sink in like this when somebody sits down? I felt that happen. I think I felt the presence of somebody being in there. So y'all tell me down below. Let me know, because I like to get into this conversation. Let me know y'all stories. But y'all tell me if y'all can feel presence when y'all are asleep. So like, for example, for me, I'm typically a light sleeper. So if somebody comes into the room or is walking around while I'm asleep, like my mom used to say, quit walking around my head, or walking over my head or whatever. It typically meant, like, let's say you're not even near my head, but you're in the room walking around. I can feel you, and I can feel the presence. And I may not, if I feel like it's no danger, I may not like jump up out my sleep, but I know that you're in there. So in this particular instance, I'm laying in the bed, I'm facing the wall, and I feel a presence of someone like lay down. But in my head, I'm thinking it's JC. So I'm like, oh, JC came home and he came in a room for whatever reason. And I'm laying down, but I cannot move. I think I tried to call his name and I couldn't. I'm just laying there. And then I felt something or someone go over me and, like, y'all. So my record button is flashing and it just literally scared the hell out of me, because I like just looked up and seen something like go over me and like go behind the headboard. So I'm thinking, oh, okay, JC came home, grabbed his charger, and then left. Left part of my brain thinking that, right part of my brain talking about some, you know that wasn't JC, girl. Like, you know it. So of course when I wake up, I'm a little like on edge. So when JC did come home that day, I'm like, hey, you came home from work? Because also, y'all, he worked not far from where we live. Like, if I had to guess, like maybe 3 or 4 minutes driving. So there would be times that he would come home like on his breaks and stuff to get something and leave right back out. So I was like, hey, did you come home like while I was sleeping, like grab your charger? That's what I'm thinking. He grabbed his charger from the back of the wall. So like, did you come home? Excuse me, JC, what? What are you talking about? You didn't come home today. What? What do you mean? What do you mean? Like, I remember being very like confuzzled and looking at him like, what you mean you didn't come home? I felt you come home. I felt you sit on the bed. I felt you grab the charger. What do you mean you didn't come here? Make it make sense. And he was like, no, it was busy at work. I didn't come home today. So I'm like, okay. We got 2 other roommates. Now, one roommate I knew for a fact did not come in there because we weren't friends like that and we weren't cool like that. So there would be no reason for him to come in, sit on the bed, go behind me, get the charger. Like, that just wouldn't make sense. Like, it wasn't given that. He barely came out his room, to be honest. And when he did, he rushed right back into his room. I don't think he liked living with us too much, even though he was JC's friend. He was JC's friend, but it seemed that like they kind of fell off when we moved together. But whatever, that's not my story to tell. Anywho, the other guy we lived with was one of my close friends, okay? And I just asked. I was like, did you come in my room? And he was like, no. And I really didn't think he did because he was rarely home. He typically wasn't there. He was typically with his girlfriend. So I didn't like think that he honestly, y'all, he really wasn't there. Like, he was just always somewhere else. And when he was there, I would know because he was usually like playing music or something. So I really didn't think it was him. But I asked just to ask. So I guess my right part of my brain won because I was like, okay, it wasn't them. Clearly, it was some sort of spiritual thing. And I knew it might have been because I started to recite Psalms 23 again. Everything. That's usually what I recite when I find myself deep down battling something. And y'all, I really fell off because I need to like relearn it. I used to know it word for word, and I fell off. I need to relearn it. But yeah, when he said that, I was kind of just like, okay. And I remember being like a little tossed up about it, but I kind of just like let it go. You know, life goes on. You tend to forget it. I was in college. I probably drank the day away and forgot. So fast forward, I'm not going to say it didn't happen anymore, okay? But I'm telling you guys the stories I distinctly remember.